We got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walz. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, it probably doesn't matter. It probably won't make a difference. It probably doesn't mean a hill of beans. In the grand scheme of things, what happened last night probably doesn't matter. And it pains me to say this. It saddens me to say this. It angers me to say this. It righteously angers me to say this. Pisses me off that I have to say this. JD Vance won that debate last night. I'll say it again. JD Vance won that debate last night. And man, that just fries me. That just chaps me. It saddens me. So much on the line. So much, this country right now in such a precarious situation, such a dangerous situation, such an important election. And again, it may not matter. Vice presidential debates, the experts tell us, never ever matter. But screw it. I've promised you I will always tell you what I think, even if I don't like what I think, even if it angers me and saddens me. JD Vance, Donald Trump's vice presidential pick, won that debate last night going away. I don't think it was close. Again, may not matter, but he won. Vance was slick. He was polished. He was everything he hasn't been for the last month and a half. He looked good on TV. Guarantee you Trump is smiling right now. Guarantee you Trump has been smiling since that debate ended last night. Here's why one lost, but again, it was a debate. There are winners and losers, right? Everybody grades them. Everybody, instant polling and all the instant polling that came out from everybody showed that it was either a split or Vance won by a little. Hold on a minute. Let me get rid of that. I'm back, Keith. There, something popped up. I'm back, Keith. I had some kind of weird thing pop up on my computer screen. JD Vance won that debate last night. It does not please me to say that. Here's why he won. He normalized Trump. JD Vance did a great job last night of normalizing Donald Trump. He did a really super effective job last night of normalizing Donald Trump. I believe Donald Trump is a uniquely dangerous threat to this country. I believe Donald Trump is a uniquely dangerous threat to our democracy and the rule of law. I believe Donald Trump is everything our founding fathers feared. And if the American people understand that and agree with that, there's no way Trump wins. But if you're able to normalize Donald Trump, like he's just some Republican candidate for president, he's just somebody who wants to expand tariffs, he's just somebody who wants to build a wall, he's just a normal kind of candidate for president. If you can normalize Donald Trump, he has a decent shot to win. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. If most Americans think that this is an election between a Republican and a Democrat running to be president of these United States, and I disagree with or agree with some of what he says, I disagree with or agree with some of what she says, I don't like this about him, I don't really like this about her, but let me weigh the pros and cons of Harris and Trump. If this election comes down to something like that, like a somewhat normal presidential election, Trump has a really damn good shot of winning if he's able to be normalized. But if most Americans know that Donald Trump lies every time he opens his mouth, if most Americans know that Donald Trump is the only president in American history who lost an election and refused to concede and refused to participate in the peaceful transfer of power, if most Americans understand that Donald Trump believes he is above the law, if most Americans get that Donald Trump wants to be a dictator, a king, if most Americans understand that Donald Trump's whole game is to divide the hell out of us, like if most Americans understand that this is a uniquely dangerous guy, there's no way Trump wins. But if you normalize him, he's got a damn good shot of winning. And JD Vance last night normalized Trump, did a great job of normalizing Trump. Hell, JD Vance last night did a great job of normalizing himself. There was no talk of Haitian migrants eating cats and dogs. All the other bullshit, disinformation, and lies that JD Vance has been putting out for the last month and a half, none of that was last night. JD Vance sounded like and looked like some normal, nice, loving, I don't know, TV news anchor. Just a normal guy who's just trying to do his best. Not at all the JD Vance who believes that women who don't have children are like the enemy, who believe that women who own cats are the enemy. None of the JD Vance that has been nothing but a right-wing internet troll, none of that came out last night. JD Vance was just, gosh, Donald Trump and I are trying to do the best we can do for America. And things were really good under Trump. And he and Walz had a pleasant debate talking about selling federal land to private companies to build housing, talking about just nice, simple policy all night. When JD Vance is running with someone at the top of his ticket who would undo our democracy if he could. None of that really came up last night. Tim Walz, God love him, I thought had a lousy debate. Tim Walz is standing on a stage next to a guy who said that if he were Mike Pence, he would not have certified the election results in 2020. That didn't come out last night. The only reason JD Vance was on that stage last night is because JD Vance has repeatedly said, I would not have done what Mike Pence did. I would not have certified the election results in 2020. JD Vance said that. That's not normal. But there's Walz just kind of having a nice, civil, let's talk about housing policy kind of debate with the guy who would help the guy undo our democracy. No, Vance won. He did what he set out to do. He normalized himself and Trump. So now a lot of the voters, right, who are going to decide this election, the voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Nevada, who are trying to figure things out, like, I really don't like Trump, but I really don't know where Kamala Harris is. Okay, Vance and Trump sound kind of normal. I mean, get this. JD Vance last night made a better case for Trump and Trumpism than Trump has done. Think about that. JD Vance did something last night that Donald Trump is incapable of doing. JD Vance, again, slick, polished, glib, smart, presented Trump and Trumpism in a normal fashion to the American people that Donald Trump is incapable of doing. Let me say clearly here, just so you know where I'm coming from, JD Vance won last night. It doesn't please me to say that. I don't like JD Vance. I think JD Vance is another utter fraud. I think he's a phony. I think he has zero integrity. It was just a few years ago that JD Vance called Donald Trump America's Hitler. The JD Vance we saw last night is the antithesis of the JD Vance who wrote that book, Hillbilly Elegy. JD Vance has gone through an extreme political makeover, all for his own political benefit. He's a smart guy. He looks great on TV, but he has zero integrity. He had the other thing last night that Trump loves what he saw last night. And Donald Trump has said this. One of the reasons he picked JD Vance is because JD Vance looks real good on TV. JD Vance sounds real good on TV. JD Vance is like a TV anchor. JD Vance is like some spokesperson for some of the latest, anti-dementia medicine or some fancy automobile. JD Vance, all Trump cares about is how good you look on TV. And all Trump cares about is Trump. JD Vance last night was a brilliant spokesperson for Donald Trump. JD Vance was a better spokesperson for Donald Trump than Donald Trump is. Understand, he's an utter fraud. JD Vance is an utter phony. I'm acknowledging that. That doesn't matter for this. He won the debate. He did better. He looked better. He achieved his objectives better than Tim Walz did. JD Vance lied. JD Vance was shameless last night. JD Vance said whatever he had to say last night, true or not. Man, that's the cherry on top for Trump. Trump loves that. Trump loves shameless people who will lie at will, especially when you will shamelessly lie at will for Donald Trump. And you can ask me, hi, Tony, you're a dumbass fool. Tony, don't call me a dumbass fool. Tell me why I'm a dumbass fool. Vance is working to destroy our nation. Janice, that's my biggest concern. You should have found it unsettling. Idiot, Arthur, don't call me an idiot. Tell me why I'm an idiot. Start a dialogue. Get this and understand this. To work for Trump is to lie for Trump. That's kind of the deal. That's really what you have to do. JD Vance was masterful last night in doing that. I'll give you just 3 examples. JD Vance actually credited Trump with saving Obamacare. JD Vance said Donald Trump saved Obamacare, not Obama. JD Vance last night said repeatedly that U.S. domestic energy production is way down. That's a lie. U.S. domestic energy production is way, way, way up. And JD Vance last night shamelessly said, there was a peaceful transfer of power in 2020. Completely ignoring January 6th, completely ignoring everything Donald Trump did to lead to January 6th. Now, Vance was brilliant. JD Vance was brilliant. He lied for Donald Trump, and by lying for Donald Trump, he normalized Donald Trump. I listened to that debate last night. I watched it, and okay, great. It's a civil, respectful debate. We're talking in between the 40-yard lines about this, basic issues, climate change and childcare, and again, the housing shortage, and I want to scream. I wish I were Tim Walz. I want to scream. I want to say, stop, time out. This is not normal. This is not a normal election. The Republican nominee for president is the only president in American history who lost an election and refused to concede. And damn it, he's going to do it again. He is a threat to our democracy. What are we talking about housing policy for? That's what I wanted to hear from Walz. This is not normal. This is not normal. This election is not normal. Donald Trump has pledged to be a dictator. This is not a normal election, America. That's what I wanted to hear last night. Tim Walz didn't deliver any of that. Tim Walz shook JD Vance's hand, and they had a conversation about housing policy and child care policy. And JD Vance perfectly went right along because all JD Vance wanted to do was normalize Donald Trump. And he succeeded. He succeeded. And I don't know if it will make a difference, but because he succeeded in helping to normalize Donald Trump, and he's helped Trump's shot at winning. Clearly. Look, a lot of people, right? I mean, Trump doubled down on Maga. JD Vance is the heir apparent to Maga. And when Trump picked Vance, a lot of other people celebrated because Vance right now, up until last night's debate, JD Vance has been the least popular vice presidential pick ever. Every day, more crap has come out about how cruel, intolerant JD Vance is. But for people tuning in last night, you didn't hear or see any of that. JD Vance looked great and smooth and polished on TV and sounded like a normal Republican politician. He's not. But because he came across that way, he won. He won. Maga, where I come from, is an authoritarian embracing cult. We ain't never seen something like this before. It's a movement that has given up on democracy, Maga. It's a movement that doesn't give a damn about the rule of law, Maga. It's a movement that doesn't mind and in fact wants Trump to be a dictator, Maga. If most Americans see that, there's no way Trump and JD Vance win. But if most Americans don't get that within these next 5 weeks, and they just think we're having an election about two differing economic policies and two differing immigration policies, Trump's got a great shot at winning. Trump and Vance have a great shot at winning. And that's what Vance did last night. Again, zero integrity. Zero integrity. JD Vance is a really smart guy. He has zero integrity. None. He completely changed everything he believes in to advance his political career. I take that personally because I went against Trump 6 years ago, knowing it would destroy me politically. JD Vance did the opposite, but he's succeeded. He has. And no matter what happens in the 2024 election, JD Vance now, because of what he did last night, he is the heir apparent to Trump. He is the next stage of Maga. He will be the favorite if Trump loses or wins, because Trump can only serve one term, right? My Maga friends, you don't want him. He can't serve more than one, right? But JD Vance will be the lead. He's the leader in the clubhouse right now to be the Republican nominee for president in 2028. He's the heir apparent to Maga. He is Maga with a smart, slick smile. He won the debate. By the way, a note to Democrats and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. I'm changing topics right now, everybody. Tim Walz looked unprepared last night. Tim Walz looked like he ain't used to sitting down and taking real questions, tough questions. Reminder, Democrats, you have protected Tim Walz, just like you've protected Kamala Harris too much. You've put them in a cocoon. You've kept them away from the media. You've kept them away from tough questions. You've kept them away from taking questions from people who disagree with them. And Tim Walz looked like he wasn't ready last night. Looked like, he wasn't used to taking tough questions. That's a mistake, Democrats. Get Walz out there. Get Kamala Harris out there. Final thought. I agree with you. His new nickname is Dancing Vance. He danced around the questions, but he danced around them beautifully. Again, he's perfect on TV. He's Maga for TV. Like JD Vance will be able to sell, he can sell Maga, Trump and Trumpism on TV. There are some politicians who are what we call retail politicians, guys, where they're really good at the coffee shops and the diners out there in the wild with real folk. There are some, we call them retail politicians. Some politicians are really good at that. And then there are wholesale politicians who are really good at delivering a speech in front of a TV camera. They're good on TV. They're good to talk at talking to everybody into that TV camera. JD Vance is better at that. JD Vance proved last night he's really good selling shit in front of the TV. He was like a car salesman, a really nice, sincere automobile salesman last night. He's really good in front of that television. JD Vance is not a very good retail politician. He's kind of weird out there with people. But perfect partnership for Trump, right? Trump just wanted somebody who looks good on TV. Trump can sell Maga at his rallies. JD Vance will sell Maga on TV. But MAGA is a threat to this thing our founding fathers started. And I didn't hear enough of that last night from the Democrats, from Tim Walz. I have not heard enough of that from Kamala Harris or Tim Walz for the past 2 months. Trump and Trumpism is a threat to our democracy. If you normalize these two and you don't say that and show that and describe that and explain that over and over and over, the threat, then Vance and Trump are just normal Republicans, and they got a great shot at winning. Final point. JD Vance disqualified himself. Everything I'm saying, Vance won the debate. Will it make a difference? I don't know. It'll probably help Trump a little bit. But JD Vance disqualified himself last night with one answer. He was asked directly near the end of the debate by Tim Walz, did Donald Trump lose the 2020 election? JD Vance didn't answer that. JD Vance wouldn't answer that. JD Vance couldn't answer that. JD Vance didn't say, yes, Trump lost the 2020 election. That disqualifies him. 4 years after the fact, JD Vance still can't say that Joe Biden won the 2020 election. He still can't acknowledge that truth. You know where I stand. Ruben, Trump won 2020. You'd be disqualified, Ruben, if you wanted to run for president. You would be disqualified. Hey, America, I mean, I think this is easy. Do me a favor, America. Don't vote for anyone who can't answer that question, who can't tell the truth and answer that question. Did Trump lose the 2020 election? Don't vote for anyone, America, who can't answer that and say, yes, Trump lost, Biden won. If a candidate can't say that, that candidate doesn't deserve your vote. To me, that's utterly disqualifying. But I don't know. I don't know at this point what will make a difference. There are 5 weeks to go. We'll find out how many people watched and all the rest. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you all. Shoot me an email, joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. Joe Walsh, white flag, all one word. joewalshwhiteflag@gmail.com. Shoot me an email if you've got anything to say to me. As always, hope you're having a good week. Be brave.
Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.